Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take your sources, dig in, and pull out the key insights. And today, we're tackling weight loss, something we all think we get right. You know, the usual story is just science. Calories in, calories out.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah, it seems so straightforward, on paper anyway. But what if that's really just scratching the surface? We're looking at some really deep insights today from Dan Hollis. He put it brilliantly. Weight loss is biology. Staying there is narrative.
Wow, okay, that one line just shifts everything, doesn't it? It
Yeah.
forces you to think about, well, what comes next? After the scale changes, after maybe the physical hunger isn't screaming anymore, what fills that space? So our mission here is to really explore that psychological landscape. We're talking identity, the quiet moments, the need for real support, especially when tools like semaglutide come into the picture.
Exactly. It's moving past just the numbers on the scale, isn't it? It's about the story underneath. And we've got some pretty surprising things to unpack, things that might make you pause and think about what happens when that biological noise fades and something else starts talking.
Okay, so let's start with hunger itself. We used to think it was simple, like stomach growls, low blood sugar maybe. But Dan Hollis sort of unpacks it, makes us see it's way more complex.
Oh, absolutely. He has this a great way of putting it. He says, emotional hunger sounds like a craving, but it's actually a question. It's a need asking to be seen. And this becomes super obvious, apparently, when something like semaglutide dials down the physical hunger signals.
Right, so the physical noise goes down.
And boom, all the other stuff surfaces.
hmm
Loneliness, boredom, stress, anxiety, even happiness can trigger it, you know? It's all tangled up with how we use food.
And then there's this concept he talks about, identity grief. I found this fascinating. Like you lose the weight, you look different, but the person inside hasn't caught up.
Exactly. You look in the mirror, maybe the clothes fit differently, but who is that person? Your internal narrative is lagging behind the external change. He quoted someone, or maybe it was his own thought, the weight came off, then I realized I had no idea who I was without it.
Oof, that hits hard. You don't see that in the commercials, do you?
No way. That's the quiet part, the
Mm.
part after the congratulations fade. And Hollis goes beyond just, the mechanics of metabolism. He really digs into what hunger means. He says it doesn't just disappear, it changes shape. It can become memory, confusion,
Yeah.
sometimes just this void. And if you don't fill that space with something genuinely nourishing, not just food, that question, that craving, it just comes back.
Okay, so let's talk about the tools. Semaglutide, people know it as Ozempic, Wegovy.
Yeah.
It's a GLP-1 receptor agonist.
Right. And this is where things get interesting, but also need careful handling. So really quickly, what that means is it mimics a hormone your body already makes, GLP-1. It helps regulate appetite, tells your brain you're full, slows down digestion a bit, helps with blood sugar. It's a biological tool.
But Hollis warns it's not a magic fix, right?
Not at all. He's
Yeah.
very clear. He calls it a window, or maybe a biological pause, a chance, maybe the first real chance for some people to stop and ask, okay, wait, what am I really hungry for? Because think about it. If food has been your go-to coping mechanism, your emotional scaffolding,
Mhm.
and suddenly that support is just less available or the urge is gone, you're going to feel pretty exposed, vulnerable.
That feeling of exposure. Wow. That must be tough. So how does Hollis suggest people start dealing with that vulnerability?
Yeah, that's where the real work begins, according to him. You have to build. You need new scaffolding. You need to consciously create new rituals, maybe. Like, okay, instead of reaching for the comfort snack, maybe it's a walk. Maybe it's calling a friend when that lonely feeling hits. It's about seeing the hunger, that emotional echo, not as bad, but as a signal.
A signal that something needs attention.
Exactly. Something needs naming. He talks about observing the craving, not just blindly obeying it, trying to decode it. What's really going on here?
And it sounds like he's not against the medication itself. He sees its value.
Oh, definitely. He sees semaglutide as giving you something incredibly valuable. Time. Time to think, time to reset things, time to actually rewire that whole relationship with food and maybe more importantly with yourself.
Okay, so time and space.
Precisely. He puts it starkly. Semaglutide isn't the solution to emotional eating. It's the silence that lets you find one. And yeah, that silence can feel really uncomfortable at first. Awkward. Empty, even. But it can also be where the clarity happens. And connecting back, that silence is what allows you to build that scaffolding he talks so much about. He's really strong on this. Support isn't optional. It's neurobiological scaffolding. Like, it's structural for your well-being.
That leads perfectly into another core idea from Hollis, this link between emotional hunger and feeling disconnected from your own identity. Like when we lose touch with who we really are, food kind of steps in as a poor substitute.
Yes, and that ties directly into how you sustain any changes. It's not about just white-knuckling it. He says, and I love this, you don't hold on to weight loss with discipline, you hold on to it with alignment. It's not about more willpower. It's about changing the underlying story, the narrative. He thinks people don't relapse back into hunger so much as they relapse back into confusion about who they are and what they need.
Wow. Alignment, not discipline. That's a powerful reframe.
Yeah.
So, thinking about the listener, what's the takeaway here? For me, learning about Hollis's work, it feels like the real work isn't just starting the diet or the medication. It's what happens when you start needing food to sort of manage your feelings.
That's the heart of it. So if you are using something like semaglutide or considering it, or even if you've lost weight through other means and feel weird, this deep dive is really an invitation. Don't just focus on the number going down. Pay attention to that window he talks about, that biological pause. What's showing up in that space?
And ask those big questions Hollis raises. What am I actually hungry for?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe what needs support in my life now that food isn't playing that role anymore?
Yeah, it's definitely not presented as some miracle cure. No pill can do that. But it can be potentially a kind of miracle pause, a moment that gives you the breathing room to choose something different, a new path. And Hollis really emphasizes how to approach that inner work. It takes, in his words, empathy, not judgment,
Right.
awareness, not rules, and curiosity, not punishment.
That's a much kinder approach than most weight loss narratives, isn't it? And we should probably end with that powerful idea he leaves us with. When the cravings stop, the truth begins. This whole journey is not just about changing your body, is it? It's about, as he puts it, living more. It's about letting your story, your narrative, shape your future so that your psychology doesn't end up undoing all the hard work your biology achieved.